So you're helping like a sales professional repeat practice, go through different like objections, do it without having to do it in front of their boss and all their, the rest of the team to help level up.
Correct. Yeah. And I
Excellent.
think what we really notice with new hires in particular, when they join a new company and to take on a new role, either they're learning a whole new language. It's the language of that industry. It's the language of that particular company.
Do you have a customer health number? Is there a internal number that you're tracking to see how the customers are benefiting from the app?
So up until now, we've been really sort of focused on a core customer base, and we're starting to grow now. So we do all the typical kind of outreach that's done in marketing, mass email campaigns. We don't do cold calling, but we leverage our relationships, and we're doing, pay-per-click campaigns, but also starting to engage with a number of resellers and partnerships.
Edward, welcome to Product Growth Stories. I'm so happy to have you here and talk about your business, Practis. Is that how you pronounce it, by the way? Practis?
That is, you are right.
Practis.
Practice, yeah.
And I'd love to hear, what is it, like, what does Practis do, and what was the gap in the market that you saw that led you to build this application?
Yeah, thanks. We do conversation training. We basically just help people, salespeople in particular, learn what to say when in certain conversational situations. So we kind of set out as a company to automate role play for training purposes and put it on a phone so people could access it. And we think of it as a sort of a sales batting cage.
Excellent. And why did you choose role play as the element to automate?
Because previously we'd actually developed a patent and patented a conversation simulator that was used for another product. We had numerous salespeople and company leaders come to us and ask that we actually sort of recreate it for sales training purposes. So we were kind of accidentally introduced to it.
I see. So you had other people like see the app and say, oh man, you have to use this in the sales environment.
Yeah, and I think because role play for training purposes for sales has always been the best way to prepare people for sales conversations. It's just that everybody hated it because it's just so awkward. It was often sort of strangely or conducted in a sort of cringeworthy way in front of a large group or in front of your boss. But it still is, kind of a critical thing to do. You've got to practice anything to get good and better at it. And so we thought, well, could we fix what was broken and actually really help people prepare for sales conversations?
That's great. So you're helping like a sales professional repeat practice, go through different like objections, do it without having to do it in front of their boss and all their, the rest of the team to help level up.
Correct. Yeah. And I think what we really notice with new hires in particular, when they join a new company and to take on a new role, either they're learning a whole new language. It's the language of that industry. It's the language of that particular company. And very often they'll go through training, they'll get a lot of information up front, but they don't really have time to kind of convert that information to conversation successfully. And so they end up out in the field or on the phone, unsure of what to say for a long period of time. And that often leads to, poor experiences in front of customers because they're practicing essentially on the customers.
Yeah.
And
which is
and
like a
it
very
can take a while.
expensive practice.
It is
business.
for the business and really kind of disheartening for the new hire. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think about, just my own experience with sales training and role play. Like if you are trying to get one-on-one role play advice or a sales coach, that is very expensive. That's in the tens of thousands of dollars a month to get, a high level training. And I love how this is democratizing it. How does your pricing compare versus, let's say you bring in, I don't know, what's the top sales guy? Let's say like Jeremy Miner or somebody, right? Somebody who's a very high level sales trainer. Of course, there would be a big group format, but how does the price compare?
I think on average, we probably train people at around $50 all in per user per month. We've been told by sales leaders that our ROI is through the roof. So,
yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
The most important thing is what we can do really at scale because, sales managers are just so overwhelmed these days that, they don't have the time to commit sort of one-on-one attention to each person. And there's a lot of a large percentage of the sales team that's just sort of left to their own devices and they end up kind of winging it and then just kind of getting more and more frustrated and ultimately quitting. So what we've done is we've created what is essentially a virtual practice partner and then a virtual coach to not only kind of help you practice, but then also give you feedback And all of that is tracked for the manager to know, who's really kind of certified to sell, who's on, on message or fluent, and who's not. So
Mhm.
fully automated.
That is amazing. And so, what are you doing right now to acquire, net new users for Praxis?
We've been so much in kind of product land for the longest time,
Yeah.
trying to really perfect what we're doing. Portion for us has been a game changer because we've been in this business, in this space for about 6 years. We had developed this conversation simulator previously that was all about script-based training. And that's kind of the foundational product that we went to market with. But it really relied on managers to watch videos and provide feedback. And it wasn't until the AI came along that could really effectively replace the managers that our product has really got to the point where we can kind of shout to the mountaintops and say, hey, it's ready and you should come and check it out. So up until now, we've been really sort of focused on a core customer base, and we're starting to grow now. So we do all the typical kind of outreach that's done in marketing, mass email campaigns. We don't do cold calling, but we leverage our relationships, and we're doing, pay-per-click campaigns, but also starting to engage with a number of resellers and partnerships. So
This is the like final move for many like B2B SaaS. Eventually, if you can get in a good partnership network, that's a lot of leverage. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So
yeah, I think
what's
unfortunately a lot of the traditional channels are sort of played out right now. I think people don't really like to, get spammed or cold called any longer. So
did
we're
they?
doing everything we
Nobody
can to
ever
leverage
liked it.
relationships.
Liked it. I think nobody
Yeah,
liked
no one
getting
liked it.
spammed.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I totally
Yeah.
hear. I hear that from a lot of guests, especially right now this year, that there's this perception that the channels are saturated. And one of the things, like, because you have an AI product, that I'm seeing is everyone has the ability just to do more and more of the same thing. So it takes some effort to differentiate yourself and get noticed now, more effort than it used to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
So
it's,
what's the next
yeah.
chapter for Practis? Like, what are you building towards right now in 2025?
So I think we're always going to be iterating and evolving our core product, which is really just conversational interactivity with AI. Currently, it's done with really interacting with a voice. And I think we'll probably be layering in digital avatars that you'll be interacting with. They need to be at a place where they can kind of emote in real time, and it's got to be really lifelike.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something we're tinkering with. But I think there's a lot of room for just an overall enhancement to our process. So I think one of the biggest things that we've noticed is that if you just license a company some technology, it often doesn't get adopted. And obviously,
Yes. Yeah.
there's a million tech
Yeah.
solutions sitting in someone's tech stack that aren't being utilized. And so one thing that we've focused a lot on in the last year, especially, is providing our service in a full kind of white glove offering. So we go in and we deal with just a little bit up front with the sales leadership, get some information from them, and then we handle everything, soup to nuts from start to finish, and launch all the
Mhm.
campaigns, curate the content, really kind of evangelize it throughout the organization. So we're a full service offering, and we're actually creating a lot of that service agentically. So that's where AI continues to kind of, enhance our offering.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, it's funny, at the end of the day, behind every like technology, there's like a person there, and that person has to eventually use it. And getting people to adopt new behaviors is the hardest thing ever. It's like a
Well,
lot of effort.
so yeah, I think traditionally so many SaaS companies have just kind of created another problem or put a whole nother load of work in someone's lap. And we don't want to do
Yeah.
that. We want to be as lightweight as possible. And really all we're focused on is really where the rubber meets the road. And that's that conversational interactivity between a salesperson and a prospect, and making
Hmm.
sure that they understand the kinds of questions they need to ask, the kind of information they need to provide, and to explore a fit between themselves and the customer where it's 2 + 2 = 5. Like that's all we try to focus on. And when you kind of distill everything into that goal, things can become a lot clearer for everyone. So
Yeah.
that's what our process does, I think, with a lot of different companies.
And I'm curious, do you have, because I'm imagining what I would do, so I want to hear what you would do. Do you have like a customer health number? Is there a internal number that you're tracking to see how the customers are benefiting from the app?
No, but that's a good idea. I think we should.
Yeah.
We're in constant communication with our customers, and we track everything. All the
Hmm.
activity inside the app is tracked, all the scores. one thing that's important is that when people are practicing in our system, it's a private environment, so management can't see or hear any of their
Mm-hmm.
practice reps, but the app is recording the time and the quality of those reps. So we have a sense of how well they're practicing and how often they're practicing.
Yeah.
But we are
Yeah.
very keen on adoption, and we want to know, why it's not being adopted if it's not. And practice isn't something sexy. No one really wants to practice.
And yeah. Yeah.
It's got to become sort of habitual. But when it does become habitual, just like anything else, just like working out, if you're
Yeah.
a runner, if you're a weightlifter or whatever, if you miss your spin class, you feel kind of weird, right? If you're someone who does spin class. But you got to get those people, entice them into the gym and get them going, and then it becomes something that they like to do and they miss doing. So our goal early on is to really get everybody invested in the process, certainly exposed to it, and then
Hmm.
invested in it and feel the impact of it. So we
Yeah.
don't have a health score, but I'm thinking that might be something we should implement. It's a good idea.
Okay, you're so close to revenue. I mean, it's a sales training, right? So I keep thinking like, yeah, and you want your end user is the actual rep. And I was just imagining like there must be a way for you, and this would be able to, get information from companies that you partner with. Like what were the close rates before and after you implement the practice? You could actually tell reps like, look, people who use this on average improve their commissions by X%. Like that's that would be amazing thing to know. Like, how much more money did we help the reps earn?
Yeah, well,
That
by
would
the
be
way, we
cool.
do that. We've been doing that from the beginning. Yeah, absolutely. We
Yeah.
treat every single engagement like its own case study. And
Hmm.
typically we're finding that we can increase a company's revenue and typically in like 60 days by as much as 20%. And I think that's our really the value that we're bringing is to kind of optimize that sales team and make everybody a little bit more effective and help them
Yeah.
perform. And when they're really put on the spot in front of a customer, can they stand and deliver? And what's fascinating is when we go into a company, the first thing we'll do is we'll deploy the AI in kind of a diagnostic way to say, all
Hmm.
right, go up against our impossible customer who knows everything about your company and everything about your
Yeah.
sale and everything about your competitors. Go up against that customer and see if you can achieve an objective in that conversation. Is it setting a meeting? Is it getting the signature? Is it overcoming all the objections? Let's see how well you do. And when we put, let's say 50 or 100 salespeople in front of that, it's a
Hmm.
huge wake up call because very often veterans who think they know everything about their product and their company and their
Yeah.
industry are left a little bit humbled by the impossible customer. And then we say, okay, well, we've got a baseline now. So now let's go in and let's train everybody up and let's make them bulletproof. And when we actually deploy Practis, we always look for benchmark metrics, right? And so we love to be able to show that we've been able to move the revenue needle in a short period of time. And it's the only way you're going to increase revenue is either improving the number of leads that come into your funnel, so more marketing expense, or improving the conversion rate on those leads. And so
And
this is the
churn.
quickest path to revenue, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. So I mean, this is a really phenomenal product. I really do love it. And I'm curious, like, what are you the most excited about as we wrap up for 2025 for the future of AI and sales enablement?
You know what? I'm more and more excited all the time about the nuanced way that we can actually improve AI as a coach
Mhm.
and AI as someone who, so I say someone, or a technology that can really help people grow in terms of their conversational expertise. Because we like to think of what we do as conversation training. We like to kind of think of that as a new category because it's something that's been really overlooked for a long time. I mean, I mentioned that obviously role play has been around forever, but really kind of addressing conversational expertise at scale has been impossible to do logistically until now. And so
Mhm.
the more that we can improve the quality of that AI coach or sort of virtual manager, the more impactful it'll be. And we're seeing all kinds of different ways to do that. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot in our orchestration layer to pull that off, but the outcomes are pretty phenomenal. So that's what
Great.
I'm
Thank you
excited
so
about.
much, Edward.
Thank you, Jean-Michel. Appreciate it.